Welcome to the McNeese State University Financial Aid and Scholarship session. I'm Tana Savoy, Director of Financial Aid, and my co-presenter will be Raylyn Castet, Director of Scholarships. I'll be discussing the financial aid portion of what we do here at McNeese. In the financial aid office, we handle several different types of financial aid. The financial aid programs are broken into grants, which is funding you do not have to repay. So we do have federal and state grant programs. We also handle the low interest rate federal student loan programs. Of course, we always encourage to borrow wisely, and any student loans, the students do have to actually accept them. They do have to do an entrance counseling, and they also have to sign a master promissory note before we can make any disbursements of those funds. In addition, our office handles part-time jobs on campus under the federal work-study program. We have many part-time job opportunities on campus, and many of them go through the Student Employment Office, but the federal work-study program is handled here through our office. The majority of the students do earn minimum wage, but we do have other opportunities in community service programs where they can earn more than minimum wage. So we definitely encourage everyone to check into that avenue. And also there are scholarships, and of course Ms. Castet will cover that in her section. So let's go ahead and talk about the average cost per semester. So let me make sure that you know what a semester is. A fall semester is August through December. A spring semester is January through May. So typically, most students attend a fall and a spring semester, so the cost that we'll be talking about will happen twice a year. Of course, if they're going to summer school, that will be an additional cost. But for Louisiana residents, our tuition and fees, based on 15 credit hours, which is typically a full-time student, is currently at $4,400 per semester. And again, that is to take the classes. We also have an estimated books and supplies of $650 per semester. Of course, all of that is varying based on the classes that are being taken, based on if they're taking it online, pertaining to the books and supplies, if they're able to rent the books, if they're purchasing new books. So there are a variety of costs that could happen. Whenever you're talking about the books and supplies, we do also have where our freshmen might not have to pay as much for their books and supplies, but as they become senior level, then their books and supplies get the books get a little bit bigger, and now their cost goes up, like for nursing and engineering. But yet our art majors can also have a larger supply cost. So it will always vary amongst each student. So again, this is an average. For our students considering living on campus, our housing can range anywhere from about $1,500 per semester to as much as $3,200 per semester, depending on what type of living arrangement they would like. We have traditional dorms, we have suites, we have apartments, so it depends on how many roommates they want and their housing facility that best fits their budget and their living arrangements. Also, for all students living on campus, they have to have a meal plan, which is about $950 on up to $1,900. Depending on what type of living arrangements and housing that you choose will determine what type of meal plan that you have to select. For all of our non-residents, anyone living outside of Louisiana, they will have an additional tuition and fee expense of $2,500 per semester. And of course, we do have many opportunities for waiving that out-of-state fee, and Ms. Castet will talk about that in her session. All of the other expenses will typically be the same for all of those students. So whenever applying for federal financial aid, all of the different grants and loans and the part-time jobs on campus, the way that you begin this process is by completing the free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA, on a yearly basis. You need to make sure and apply early. The application becomes available October 1st of each year, and so we want to make sure and encourage you to start early in order to know early what you're going to be eligible to receive. Also, everyone is eligible to receive some type of financial assistance. It might not be exactly what you're wanting to receive, but we do consider you for all of the different grants, loans, and part-time jobs on campus as soon as you do the application. The FAFSA application itself, we want to encourage you to make sure and go to the FAFSA.gov website, which is the free and secure government website to do the application. You will always be using the prior year income when doing the application. For example, for the fall of 2021 and the spring of 2022, the FAFSA will be using the family's 2019 tax information. When in the application at the FAFSA.gov website, we encourage you to do the IRS data retrieval tool to make sure that you're pulling the information directly from the IRS to put into the FAFSA application to help eliminate any errors that you might have or any questions that might come up on the application. I do want to make sure and let you know McNeese's school code is 002017. So please make sure and indicate that code. You can indicate up to 10 school codes on the application. That is how all the different schools can start communicating with you as the student. The other important thing that we need to talk about today is satisfactory academic progress, which is so important for students to understand what is expected of them while earning any type of financial assistance or scholarships, that they do have to make sure that they're maintaining their grades. So students are expected to attend class regularly. I know that seems like an easy concept, but it is something that is very important for students to begin attendance in class and actually attend their class regularly. Also, students need to understand what has to be done to earn in each semester for their GPA and their hours. It is so important, and it's not going to be the same for the different types of financial aid programs that they're receiving. It can vary. For example, all of the federal financial aid programs, our students have to maintain a 2.0 cumulative grade point average, which is a C average, and based on however many hours they attempt, then there's a certain number of hours that they need to earn. Of course, as Ms. Castell will address with scholarships could each have different criteria. So that's why it's very important as you accept and learn of the different opportunities that you're being offered with different financial aid, what do you have to maintain for each of those? The financial aid office is located in Chosen Hall. And within Chosen Hall, we have gathered a wonderful team amongst that entire building. In that building is financial aid, it's also scholarship, it's the registrar's office, admissions, enrollment management, freshman advising, and Student Central. When you enter that building, our Student Central specialists are the main people that greet everyone and can definitely help any person with any type of question that they might have. But yeah, we're all located in that building to be able to help escalate the question if they need to a different office. So we definitely encourage everyone to visit Chosen Hall, where you'll be greeted there in Student Central. On the slide, it does indicate our phone number, which is 337-475-5065. And of course, you can email them at any time at studentcentral@mcneese.edu. And now I'll turn the session over to Ms. Castell for her to cover the scholarship portion.
My name is Raylyn Castell. I'm the Director of Scholarships here at McNeese. We do things a little bit separately. The federal financial aid programs are handled through the Office of Financial Aid. The scholarships programs, which includes TOPS, are handled in the scholarships office. I'll take this opportunity now to talk with you about opportunities for scholarships and even a little information about the TOPS program here at McNeese State University. There are three basic types of scholarships available to students at McNeese State University: academic, athletic, and performance or participation. Academic scholarships are based upon a student's past academic performance and their future academic potential. Primarily, when we make scholarship awards, We make them on the basis of ACT or SAT test scores, standardized test scores. We also look at a student's grade point average. We look at a student's transcript to see the information that they have. Extracurricular activities and honors and awards are used as secondary factors in making decisions and determinations about academic scholarships. We notify students of those, and I'll talk with you in just a moment about what students need to do in order to apply for those academic scholarships. Athletic scholarships are based upon, again, a student's past athletic performance and their future athletic potential. Scholarships in these particular areas, students need to contact the athletic department, contact the coach of the individual sport that is available for students so that they can make those decisions and determinations. Although we in the scholarships office don't make the determinations of the athletic scholarship awards, we do process the information, and we have to verify that the student's information meets all of the federal, state, and institutional guidelines associated with scholarships. So we coordinate all of that information with the scholarships and financial aid offices. So please be sure and remember that you can contact us about that information and how it applies on your bill, but the athletic department will make the decisions and determinations about the athletic awards. We also have scholarships available to students who participate in band, who participate as cheerleaders, our dance team, rodeo, SGA. We even have service scholarships available to students. In those particular areas, just like athletics, we don't necessarily make the decisions in the scholarships office, but you need to contact the individual areas to get those awards and find out their application procedures. In order to apply for the academic scholarships, students need to complete the application for admission and scholarships. This application is online, so when students go online to apply for admission, there is a question associated on the application for admission that talks about scholarships. It's going to ask you information about your extracurricular activities, honors and awards, employment. So the student needs to complete that particular question in order to be eligible to receive scholarships. Once we have that information on file, we gather that along with all of the information that's on the application for admission, which includes the test scores, high school grade point average, and other information. We put that information into a database and then evaluate that information to make those actual scholarship awards to students. What students really need to know are the deadlines associated with those academic scholarships. In order for us to determine a student's eligibility for scholarships, we have a priority deadline of December 1st for students who plan to attend for the fall of 2021. In order to meet that priority deadline, get your application for admission and scholarships on file, and also make sure that you have turned in all of your documents associated with that. If there are anything else that you need in terms of transcripts or in terms of test scores, make sure that McNeese has received that information. March 1st is our final deadline for scholarship applications, so you want to be sure and get that information on as quickly as possible. Go to mcneese.edu, visit our webpage, and go to the Apply tab, and then you can apply for scholarships and admission at the same time. For freshman academic scholarships, we have a grid that's available that will show students, based upon your ACT or SAT scores and your grade point average, the amounts that you may qualify for in particular scholarships. So students don't have to fill out separate applications. You complete the one application for admission and scholarships, and that will tell us what you qualify for in regard to those particular scholarship awards. In addition to the Presidential, the University Scholars, the John McNeese, and the Academic Excellence Award, there are a number of other freshman scholarships that are available to students too. Again, the one application for admission and scholarships will put you in the running for all of these particular scholarships. And even for graduates, transfers, and international students, we have additional scholarships that are available for you too. Our website has some additional information about the types of awards that are available and the amounts that are available to you too. Our Honors College, which is our highest level of academic scholarship, does require that students complete an additional application. That can be found on our website at mcneese.edu under the Honors College Scholarships information, and students need to complete that application and return all of the information that is provided with that too. There may be recommendations associated with that particular award, counselor recommendations, professor and individual teacher recommendations, and possibly even an essay that students will need to complete in order to apply for that particular award. When we make scholarship awards, the primary thing that we are going to look at is certainly the ACT, SAT test scores, the grade point average. We will also only make awards to students who have been accepted for admission and those who are eligible to enroll in college level English and math. So those are the areas that you want to make sure that we have all of that information on file so that you can be considered for the most scholarships for which you meet the criteria and or which are available to you at that time. We will begin to award scholarships on October 1st, and we will continue until funding is exhausted. So when I say funding is exhausted, there's a key word. Make sure that you apply early. You want to have your application so that you can be considered for all the types of scholarships that you meet the criteria and are eligible to receive. So please be sure and meet that priority deadline that we have established as December the 1st. I also want to make you aware of the William J. Doré Horatio Alger Scholarship that is available. This is put in place by Bill Doré, who is a McNeese alumnus, and awards scholarships to students who are Louisiana high school students and meet certain criteria. So you can certainly apply for that scholarship by going to the Horatio Alger website and meet those deadlines associated with the William J. Doré Scholarship. For those of you who are watching from out of state, does McNeese have an out-of-state fee? Currently, McNeese does have an out-of-state fee associated with tuition and fees. So in order to waive that out-of-state fee, and we do have several ways that out-of-state fee can be waived. The actual value of it for domestic students from other states is $2,500. So in addition to the amount that a student would be charged for Louisiana tuition and fees, out-of-state students are charged an additional $2,500. In order to waive that, we have a couple of ways though. You can have that award waived by the academic side or by what we call special achievement. On the academic side, students who meet certain criteria associated with ACT scores, a 21 ACT composite, or a 1060 SAT, and you have to have at least a 2.25 high school GPA, and you have to be ready for college level English and math. So you can't need any remedial coursework in order to qualify for that academic award. You do not have to apply separately for the Access Award, but what you need to do is make sure that you complete that application for admission. Based upon the information that you've provided there about your state of residence, we will then automatically consider you for the McNeese Access Award and will notify you if you are eligible to receive that particular out-of-state fee waiver and the Access Award. We also have another way to waive the out-of-state fee, the Special Achievement Award. This award may be available to students who maybe don't quite have that ACT score that they are looking at. So a student may qualify for admission, but maybe they don't meet that 21 ACT composite. For those students, if you participate in certain activities associated on our campus, such as band, cheerleaders, rodeo, music, art, spirit groups, any of those things, that refers back to those participation scholarships that I talked about earlier. If a student participates here at McNeese in any of those areas and meets some minimum requirements, you have to have at least a 2.5 grade point average, you have to have high achievement in those performance areas, and you have to complete an interview with us. But if you meet those particular criteria, then we can waive that $2,500 per semester out-of-state fee through a Special Achievement Award. There is a separate application that students will need to complete on that, and we can get that information to you if you are interested in that Special Achievement Award. Please feel free to contact us at Chosen Hall Student Central, and we will be happy to forward that application to you so that you too can be considered for that particular award. TOPS, the Taylor Opportunity Program for Students. One of the best things that has happened for Louisiana residents here in the state of Louisiana in the last 25 years. TOPS is available to students who graduate from Louisiana high schools, and in certain times they can graduate from outside of the state of Louisiana if you're a Louisiana resident. This award is the value of tuition for Louisiana residents. So here at McNeese, the value of tuition is $2,574 per semester. In order to qualify for the Opportunity Award, students are going to need to meet certain criteria associated with ACT scores. Typically, a student has to have a minimum of a 20 on the ACT. You have to complete all of the core courses associated with the TOPS tuition program and complete those while you're in high school. And a student has to have a minimum of a 2.5 grade point average on those individual core courses. Once students complete that information and graduate from Louisiana high school, they are automatically considered for the TOPS program as long as they complete the FAFSA annually, the free application for federal student aid, which Ms. Savoy talked about. You need to complete that application annually. That is the application for federal aid and the application for TOPS. You have to be sure and send your ACT or SAT test score to TOPS. Make sure that you have that information on file with them. There is a specific code on the ACT and the SAT so that you can qualify for the TOPS program. Also make sure that you've given the high school permission for your information release to the Office of Financial Assistance. You have to enroll full-time, and the last thing you always have to do each year, you have to meet the satisfactory academic progress standards. And make sure that you're aware of those standards because those can be different for financial aid, for other scholarships, and for the TOPS program. I know that we've covered an awful lot of information today, and sometimes this sounds like we're speaking in a foreign language when we're talking about FAFSAs and TOPS and all of those types of things. So we want to make it as easy as possible for you to be able to contact us. As we mentioned earlier, financial aid and scholarships are located in Chosen Hall, but primarily we have Student Central specialists who are located in our building who can answer any questions that you have about financial aid, about scholarships, and even about other admissions and other types of information associated with enrolling or being admitted at the institution. So we have our phone number is listed here on our slide that you can call us. studentcentral@mcneese.edu is the email address that you can pose questions to, and sometimes that's even easier to get in touch with us on. There are times when our phone lines are very busy, so if you'll give us an email, someone will get back with you to provide you with any information or questions and answers that you may have associated with financial aid and scholarship information here at McNeese. Thank you for joining us today for our presentation on scholarships and financial aid at McNeese State University. We hope to see you soon. Go Pokes!